Hey, what's going on, guys? Dvzl from Team Stand and Draw here, bringing you guys a deck profile. So I have finished Tachikaze a couple weeks ago. I actually finished it the week the set came out. It just took me a while to record this. Um, College student finals. I think I've said enough. Okay, so we're gonna jump right into the deck profile. Starter I play obviously is Baby Chimera. They haven't brought out a better starter, so I'm staying with him. His ability Counterblast 1 when he gets retired. Search the deck for a grade 1, call it to Vanguard, and that unit gets 3k at GB1. So, I mean, I chose to stay with the starter. I don't really see any other starters better, unless you're playing like the grade 3 searcher, but even then, this is still the optimal choice for a lot of your plays. So, for trigger lineup, I am playing, of course, there's the 8 critical, so there's the Dvzl. He got reprinted, but I love my set 11, the regular G set 11, not even like, no, sorry, well, BT 11 variant of Dvzl, the Ancient Dragon, and 4 of the Gaia crit. So effect trigger is definitely good. Flipping is good, but you're never really gonna use it that much. I've added in a lot of cards. Well, one card to unflip damage, and I don't really use like a lot of counterblast. I mean, my counterblast management, I don't really have to worry about it because I have a lot of counter charging cards. So playing that, and then of course the Gaia crit. It's a Gaia deck, so why not? And then I'm playing 4 draw. Of course the Ankleo, Marble Clone putting the soul for 3k, and 4 heal. Playing G Guardian, gotta play 4. So that's a trigger lineup. And then grade 1s. Grade 1s, I have been fiddling around with this before set 10 came out, and then finally when set 10 came out, I finally figured out a lineup I thought was good. So first and foremost, you gotta play 4 perfect guards, unflipping 1. That's the Ancient Dragon one. The Engorge perfect guard, I didn't feel like I had to play that because the unflipping was another counter charger first and foremost, and then it's just really good. Can't protect your rear guards, but obviously you're not gonna have rear guards anyway. So next we play 4 of the Strat Fodder for Gaia. So I had dropped his number down to 3 to Tekken other grade 1s that came out, but ultimately I went back up to 4 because the grade 1s that came out, they just didn't fit the Gaia playstyle. That's honestly what. I will have to make room for the new grade 1 that's coming out. The Gaia Draw one, that I think it's like a tournament promo, so we'll have to find space for that. But as it is right now, post set 10, there was like no grade 1 I wanted to add in. So next I'm playing 4 Freezer Nicks. Freezer Nick's ability is if I have a Gaia Vanguard and he's retired, I can counter charge Soul Charge 1, counter charge 1, Soul Charge 1, and give a unit on the board 2,000 power. So you can do pretty cool plays with him, especially if you combo him with Gaia, give him the ability to come back to field, so you can retire him, delay his skill, call him back, and then use skill. Use a skill on him, make him a 9k. Or, you do other funny plays with that. Then, for my last 2 Tekken cards, I'm playing, so this is the Soul Blast 2 Unflip 2. He came out in the Revival Collection. We didn't have it in America until Revival Collection. And then I'm playing 1 of the Soul Blast 2 in Draw. So, mainly I'm playing these 2 cards because Gaia can combo off of these 2 really well. On placement, they do their skills, and when Gaia gives them the skill to return to field, you can keep using their skills as long as they didn't get killed off, and you can pay the cost. So I thought it was a good Tekken, and plus you can search it out with Chimera, so pretty good. Really good in my opinion. So I'm trying that out. I'm gonna have to find room for the drawing grade 1, but we'll find out when I get that card. For grade 2s, I'm playing. We're gonna start with the new cards, and then we're just gonna work with the old cards first, actually. So I'm playing 1 Tank Mammoth. Actually, I lost a lot of interest in Tank Mammoth. I used to play it at 3, then I dropped to 2, and now I'm at 1. I feel like his skill is cost heavy, and that's interesting because Tachikaze, with all the counting charging, it's really hard to consider a heavy cost. But I lost interest in playing him because of the fact that Gaia calls back and Stride Gaia calls back, and I usually don't. I mean, it's kind of hard to just like get a skill off, but he's still there. When he gets retired, Counterblast, Soul Blast 1, call him back to field, he gets +3, so he's an 11k attacker. Really good, don't get me wrong, but it's just I've been going away from him and using other cards. And also his skill is not GB, so if you ride a Engorge unit on Vanguard, then yeah, you can pay the cost. You can do multiple attacks as well. So next I'm playing 2 of the special grade 2 for Gaia. So his ability is, if you have a Gaia Vanguard and he's placed on rearguard circle, you can pay the cost. Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1. He gets 2,000 power, and when he becomes Engorge, he gets 5,000 power, and you can draw 1 card. So I'm playing it at 2. Not that essential, but the draw is really good, so that's really why I'm playing it. You don't really use it on your you don't use it on your Dynast combo, and you don't use it on your Dogma combo. But for other strides, you could use it for the draw. But you know, it's just there just to be there, if anything. Next, you gotta play 3 Sako Blaze. I'm debating on bumping it up to 4, but 3 is good right now. So when he becomes Engorged, when he attacks, my opponent can't call grade 0s to the Guardian Circle. So once you power him up through Freezer Nyx, triggers, and Freezer Nyx and triggers, he becomes a Silent Tom that's strong and deadly. Onto the new cards. I'm playing 2 of Giant Flame, or Giant Flame, or whatever his name is. He's the 11k grade 2. I'm very happy they brought that back to Vanguard. Brutal Jack was one of the first, if my memory serves me right. Brutal Jack was one of the first 11k grade 2s. For the new players, you probably don't know who Brutal Jack is. But his ability, he has Engorge, but it's not really that important. But he has Engorge ability, and the reason why he's 11k is because of his second skill. So while on Vanguard Circle or Rearguard Circle, if I do not have a Gaia Vanguard or an Engorge unit, and that doesn't mean a unit that has Engorge ability, like that unit has to be engorged state and in Engorge state. If I don't have either of those 2, I can't attack with this unit. So that's why it's an 11k, and it's fair. It's fair skill. So, and his last ability, which is really good for the deck, he gets 5,000, and this is continuous. He gets 5,000 for each of my Engorge units. So if you have Engorge Vanguard, and then you make him, well, not him, but Engorge Vanguard, and you got Engorge Rearguard on the other column that he's not in, then he's a good 21. But usually you don't really get him past 16, but you know, you could try. And then last for the grade 2s, I'm really taking in Rusher Erasmo. So I was playing his skill completely wrong until I found out that it's a different skill. So first and foremost, he's a 7k grade 2, very different from the other grade 2 that I just had. He has the ability of when he becomes Engorged and retired from Rearguard. So like if he was Engorged and retired, then I can Soul Blast 1 and call him back to Rearguard, to open Rearguard. And then also his continuous Rearguard ability at GB1, he's a booster. So honestly, I use him for different type of combos depending on the situation. It's just the fact that to call him back is a Soul Blast, so that's really good. So there's that. On the grade 3s. Grade 3s, of course, you have to play old Gaia. Gaia is essential for the deck. His ability is GB2. First and foremost, he has Engorge. GB2, when he becomes Engorge, he gets 5k in a crit. Pretty generic. Only on Vanguard Circle, by the way. So there's that. And his second ability is when a unit strides on top of him, I can Counterblast 1, call up to 2 cards from choose up to 2 cards from my hand, call them to field, then choose up to 2 units on the board and give them the ability. If they get retired, they get called back to field. So you can do some pretty cool shenanigans with his skill and put it on like the grade 1, and then boost attack and then retire the column and then call back. Do a bunch of crazy things. So, yeah, that's the guy you definitely want to go into. New guy, on the other hand, playing 4 of it, honestly, I thought I was going to enjoy this card. It's not too much. So, first, he like his previous form, he also has Engorge. His second ability, Vanguard or Rearguard Circle, by the way, GB2. When this unit attacks, if he becomes Engorge, he gets 5,000 power, and then if he's on Vanguard Circle, he gets a crit. So I expected it to do a little bit more, but you get what you can. And his on-stride ability is when a unit strides on top of this unit, you give your Vanguard a new skill. You give your Vanguard with Engorge ability the new skill. When this unit becomes Engorge, counterblast 1 and you can draw a card. So, it's not the best, but, honestly, I'm playing him because of the guy name. If that wasn't the case, I would be playing the new grade 3 that we got that retires itself to stride for free. But even then, it's like, that should have been a grade 1. But, you take what you can for Tachikaze. So, onto the stride lineup. Let's start with first and foremost with the new stride that came out, Gaia Dynast. So, really good card, in my opinion. It really, really good with field control. But first, he has Engorge ability. His second ability, which I'm going to talk about his third ability before I get to the second ability. But his third ability is choose a Gaia Dynast in G zone, turn it face up. When he becomes Engorge, pick one of your rear guards, and then you retire every unit in the same column as that unit. So if you have like a full column and then your opponent has a full column, you retire that full column, and then after that you countercharge 1. So there's that, and then to get to a second ability, GB3. So that's I think the ruling is if once you do the skill, you would be at GB3 if you have something face up in G zone. But first stride that won't proc. But GB3, when a unit is retired by his ability and only his ability, then you can counterblast 1 to call it back to rearguard, and that unit and this unit gets 3,000. So you can do some pretty cheeky stuff. Honestly, I've been using it as first turn stride to, if my opponent tried to rush me, then I'll use it, kill off a side, and then since I'm on like Gaia, I'll call back that same column and then attack again, do some pretty cool stuff. But just the fact that Gaia got a stride in general, just, it made my day. So there's that. Now for the rest of the G zone. You can't not play Tachikaze without Dogma. So Dogma, his ability, for those who didn't get him or don't remember, GB2, flip a copy of him face up in G zone. When this unit becomes Engorge, if you Engorge 3 units, then he gets 10,000. If you Engorge 5 units, he gains a new skill of, at the end of battle, once per turn at the end of battle, you can stand this unit and he gets drive -1. So pretty good. You can't play Tachikaze without him. It's just like he's the guy. You just can't play without him. Usually I end the game before using the rest of these strides, but yeah, you gotta play 2 of Grados Giant. So he has a pretty cool ability. He has Engorge. And when he becomes Engorge, if you Engorge 3 units, you draw a card, and he gets plus 5,000 for each card he Engorges. So he does some pretty cool things. Next, I'm playing 1 Archritter. You can't use him on New Gaia, but he's there just to be there. Of course, you gotta play your 1 Tekken of Twin Tempest. Recently, I just played a game against Asama, who's playing Neo Nectar. He cloned the field, and I just used this just to get rid of the field. So really, it's just a tech card. You're never gonna play it more than once. So that's really what it is. For G guards, I'm playing one of the old one. His ability is if the number of rear guards you have is equal to or less than or equal to the number of rear guards your opponent has, then he gets 5,000 shield. And it's okay G guard. I usually don't use it that often. Only if I can't use this next one. So I played 3 of Blockade Ganga. His ability, retire one of my units. He gets 10,000 power, and then I can give two of my units on board, the ability when they get retired, they get called back to hand. So, it doesn't say from where, it just says if they get retired, and when a unit goes to the Guardian Circle, when it leaves the Guardian Circle, that's technically considered retired. So, anything that gets retired with the ability goes back to him. So it's pretty good shield. The only thing is the unit that you retire for his for the cost of his skill, that can't come back, if that makes sense. So there's that, and that's the deck. You guys let me know what you think about it. I know it went on for like a minute, but give me your thoughts and feedback, and we'll see you in the next one.